You shall not pass! Your dark fire will not avail you! Flame of Mondoon! You shall not pass!
But that'd be pretty cool if I was that powerful, like Gandalf the Grey. Hey everyone! This is your old friend here, multi-voice reviewer, dressing up once again as the Great and Powerful Oz. But today's review I'm going to review to you today is a franchise. You know, a lot of people wanted me to review The Hobbit, but I still don't have that one. But I do have one of their franchise, though. I have Lord of the Rings. There's only one Lord of the Rings. Only one. I don't know who he is. Anyway, who haven't been a fan of Lord of the Rings? I mean, I know that The Hobbit was the first story before they did the Lord of the Rings, and Bilbo Baggins was the hero before Frodo took over. And it was created by that author, J.J. Tolkien. Is it J.J. Tolkien? Hang on a sec. Oh, J.R.R. Tolkien. That's his name. Sorry, folks. Anyway, it was based from the book by J.R.R. Tolkien. And not many people know that J.R.R. Tolkien, he was best friends with that other writer who wrote those Narnia books. You know, The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Don't have those. I don't have any. Sadly, I don't have any movies of Narnia, but I do have the books. And I do have the books of Lord of the Rings, too, but they're very old. They're my grandma's, and now it's passed down to me. And I still kept them. Because they were made way back in the 70s, and they're very old, and I don't want to do any damage on those books because they're very old. But they are very good. Anyway, let's get to Lord of the Rings, huh? Shall we? You see, after Bilbo Baggins battled against the dragon and whatnot, all of a sudden he found a ring. It was possessed by that character called Gollum. You know, the one who is obsessed with the ring. He kind of acts like a drug addict, you know? Going all, my love, my precious, my precious. And they did a pretty good job on telling more of the backstory involving the ring. Like, it turns out that this ring was owned by the Dark Lord who goes by the name of Sauron. And then there was this big war going on, and he owns all the ogres and goblins. So now all the humans and the elf, they teamed up together to battle against Sauron. And this warrior named Isildur cut off his fingers and grabbed his ring, while Sauron just vanished into thin air. And now Bilbo is getting so obsessed over the ring, so the great wizard named Gandalf the Grey, he decided that the ring shouldn't be with Bilbo, but should be with his nephew, Frodo, played by Elijah Wood here. You know, I have a feeling that Liz Taylor's character here, right here, I think her character was made up in the story. But all the other actors who are playing all the other characters, they did pretty good. Especially those who played Sam, Merry, and Pippin. And Legolas, played by Elijah Wood. Oh, no, not Elijah Wood. I mean, Orlando Bloom. You know, the first time I saw Orlando Bloom, I thought he was a girl. And even he's from Australia. And I always liked Gimli the dwarf. You know, him and his,
"What are we waiting for? Your further surprises, Master Baggins. You should have picked a better spot. Nobody tosses a dwarf. Ah, not the beard!"
And of course, having Kate Winslet playing the most powerful elf of all. Very beautiful. And of course, the problem is with Aragorn, son of Arathorn. He's afraid of becoming a king because he's afraid that he's going to be like his dad. Because his dad, his dad, Isildur, he got tempted to the ring until he was betrayed by a bunch of ogres. And what is it with these hooded race? It turns out in their origin that there are a group of 9 humans who have their powerful ring, but they wanted more power, more greed, so now they become the Ring Wraith. All hooded creatures who sound like, "Shire Baggins, give us the halflings!" Well, Ring Wraith, if you want him, come and claim him. And of course, surprisingly, I got myself an extra case. Got myself a box set of Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Rings. It's a 4-box special. Saw all the specials on it, and I was pretty much intrigued. And it showed never-before scenes in this movie. Makes the movie a lot longer. I guess Peter Jackson, he likes to make his stories a lot longer than the books. Oh yeah, and there was another wizard involved. Now, it's kind of confusing if somebody says Sauron and Saruman because they both are similar. Saruman, played by the late and great Christopher Lee. He used to be the Saruman, the White, who all of a sudden fell into the ring of madness and became evil. And of course, everybody remembers Gandalf's death, where he battled against Balrog, Flame of Mondoon, as you hear me doing that thing. Now let's get to the other story. The Two Towers. And this one continues on in the story where Samwise Gamgee and Frodo, they had decided they found Gollum. And he's kind of still tempted over the ring and all. So they want him to take him into the fiery pits of Mondoon so they can toss that ring and that ring will be destroyed. And all this forces of evil will be gone forever. And much to Aragorn and Legolas and also
Gimli the dwarf is surprised.
Gandalf the Grey returned. But he's no longer Gandalf the Grey. He is now Gandalf the White. You know, that's one thing that really bugs me. I mean, Gandalf the Grey, he becomes Gandalf the White after he was resurrected. Saruman became evil. Could his outfit change during him being evil? I mean, he'll be no longer Saruman the White. He would have been Saruman the Black. Because of the whole white against black thing. And throughout the entire journey, it gets really scary, and especially with that giant monster, that giant spider. Ugh, I hate spiders. Oh, that was on the other story. I get that confused sometimes. Some parts of the story. But throughout the entire movie, it was pretty good. Makes you feel very sorry for Gollum because he's so... I mean, he's like a drug-addicted victim who is so obsessed over the ring. He wants the ring all by himself, but little does he know that that most of the dark side of evil, they all want the ring back so they can give it back to Sauron and Sauron will return. That'll be the day. And of course, Aragorn starts falling in love with a new girl, who is the king's daughter. She's very pretty, and she's very brave. Now, if some of you are wondering if I've seen the animated series, I'm afraid to say no. I haven't seen the animated series of Lord of the Rings, or The Hobbit, or any others. Don't look at me! I never did catch... I didn't get into the Lord of the Rings until the movie came out. Okay, so cut me some slack. But of course, every time I hear Twin Towers, it just makes me think of... Well, kind of made me think of the evolving 9/11, but that's all I'm going to say. You know, I was there. It was really sad. Well, I mean, I wasn't there in New York. I was around during that time, and I heard the news. It was unbelievable. Anyway, back to the Lord of the Rings, folks. Two Towers is a pretty good story here, and some people thought that that Aragorn had died, but it turns out he survived. Of course, my favorite scene is when Langorly and Gimli the dwarf, they're counting on how many ogres they killed. And my favorite is when Gimli is sitting on top of one of the dead ogres with an axe on his head, and all of a sudden the ogre twitched, and Langorly just shot the ogre in the head with an arrow. And Gimli was like,
"What is that for?"
"He moved."
"Of course he moved. My axe was embedded to his head."
Now to the last story, ladies and gentlemen. Return of the King. Now, of course, I didn't understood anything about Return of the King. I mean, what king he's supposed to be returning to. But as it turns out, that Aragorn is chosen to become a king. He was just trying to get away from all that responsibility of becoming king because his father was a king, and look what happened to him. So that's why he tried to get away from all that, became a ranger and all. But now he finally discovered that he is chosen to become king for the human race. And of course, the White Tree Castle was owned by that really lunatic who is the son of that one warrior who got killed in the first movie. I mean, he just went all... Know what I mean? Just complete. And of course, you finally discovered that Gollum is trying to be more of a traitor by letting Frodo think Samwise ate all his food. But Samwise Gamgee, as a good friend, he never turned his back against him, because he'll always come back to know how his friend is doing. Nothing gay about it. I always hate people who always make heterosexual characters gay. I'm sick and tired of that. I mean, people saying Sherlock Holmes and Watsons are gay lovers, Batman and Robin gay. I mean, it's just stupid. I mean, it is. I mean, if the characters are gay, they can just say it, and it's pretty obvious. And besides, Sherlock Holmes has a thing for Irene Adler, the woman. And Watson, well, he's in love with Mary Mordstead. Anyway, enough with the Sherlock Holmes, and back to Return of the King. And I always thought that ever since Gandalf became Gandalf the White, I thought he kicks a lot of butt lately. Because usually he was just fighting that Flame of Mondoon, but after that, now he's kicking a lot more butts than anybody ever thought of. So, this here's my review. Any of you who are pretty much ringers, that's what they call people who are a fan of Lord of the Rings, ringers, get Fellowship of the Rings, Two Towers, and Return of the King. And try to go up on eBay if you want to get the 4-disc specials of all of them. And of course, well, you know me, I'm a sucker for documentaries. I got this documentary called The Ringers, where they start talking about a little bit of a backstory of J.R. Tolkien, who wrote the books, and now how it impacted all the fans from the books to the movies and the animated series. And it's been narrated by the actor, narrated by hard for me to pronounce his name, but he's a Scottish, Irish. He's an Irish actor who played Merry on Lord of the Rings. But that's him right here. So you probably know who he is. Anyway, this is a good documentary, so some of you people should look this up. Don't look at me, I love documentaries. It always helps me learn a lot of things. I watch tons of documentaries in my lifetime. I'm a sucker for documentaries. As for me, as the great and powerful Oz, I'm not interested in getting the ring. Actually, I found something that's a lot more powerful and magical than anything in the world. Now, of course, I know all the D&D fans. Oh yeah, that's right. One thing I forgot to mention. The inspiration for Dungeons & Dragons, those role-playing board games, the inspiration from them was from Lord of the Rings. Didn't think of that, huh? I mean, think about it. You have a bunch of characters who are all different. They all grew up together to deal against an evil threat. And of course, Dungeons and Dragons, it's the same premise, except you choose all the different types of characters who teams up together. Anyway, the most powerful item I have here, the powerful item I have in my possession, are the D&D dices. That's right. I like D&D, but I never played any of their games. And one of these days I would try. But right now I like the video game called Gauntlet. Don't know what that is. Maybe I'll do a review of that later. I got the 12 level die. And also, I got the 20 layer die. And I really like these dice. They're very cool. I have to say that they are precious. Precious. Boom! 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 Oh, dang. What just happened? Oh. Anyway, my preciouses. My preciouses. Oh, sorry. Sometimes I'm obsessed with the power these dice have. One of these days, I think I might need somebody to help me get out of this obsession. Anyway, if you like this video of Lord of the Rings, please leave a comment down below and subscribe. And next review I'm going to do, I got something that I have a bone to pick with. It's a type of mystical, magical franchise that some of the religious people have a problem with. I mean, just because it says School of Witchcraft and Wizardry, witchcraft, I mean, if you paid attention to the stories and the movies, I haven't even heard a single character saying worship Satan. Not one. I mean, that is just one big rash that I'm starting to have, and I am desperate to scratch. So you better stay tuned, folks, because this time, I'm going to review Harry Potter. So this is Oz, the great and powerful, telling you all, see you soon.